All right, let's jump into another deep dive. This time, we're taking a closer look at Action Bronson's Mr. Wonderful.
Oh, yeah, a classic.
This album was kind of a big deal for Bronson, right? Like, it marked his shift from the underground scene to, well, the big leagues.
Absolutely. It was released back in 2015, and yeah, it really catapulted him into the spotlight. He was on everyone's radar after that.
Hmm, interesting. And it's like, part of what makes him so interesting is that whole persona he's got going on.
Totally.
You know, like he's playing this over-the-top character, always kind of winking at the audience.
Yeah, he's definitely got that larger-than-life presence, like he's in on the joke the whole time.
Exactly. And that's totally reflected in the album title, Mr. Wonderful.
Oh, for sure. That title, it's so in your face, but also kind of ironic, you know? It really sets the tone for what you're about to experience.
It's like he's owning that absurdity,
Absolutely.
but also making it clear that he's like in control of it all.
Yeah.
And, one of the things that struck me about this album is how musically diverse it is. It doesn't really feel like your typical hip-hop album, does it?
No, not at all. Bronson pulls from all these different genres on Mr. Wonderful. You can hear jazz, blues, even some classic rock influences in there.
It's a really interesting mix.
Yeah, it makes for a unique sound, that's for sure.
Like in City Boy Blues, for example.
Yeah.
It's got this whole smoky, jazzy vibe to it.
Oh, definitely. You got that bluesy vocal style over those smooth instruments. It's a really cool laid-back track.
It's a standout, for sure. And, it kind of goes against what you'd expect from a major label debut.
Yeah, it's true. Most artists are going for those radio hits when they make that jump.
Right. But Bronson seems to be deliberately, like, going against the grain.
Totally. It's
Yeah.
like he's saying, this is me, take it or leave it.
Which is refreshing, honestly.
For sure, it is.
It makes the whole album feel much more personal.
Yeah, like a true artistic statement rather than something manufactured for the masses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about how he uses storytelling to build this distinct character on the album.
Okay. Yeah.
His approach is pretty unconventional, right?
Oh, absolutely. Instead of going for those straightforward narratives that you hear in a lot of rap music, Bronson opts for something way more abstract, more imaginative. He uses these weird, almost surreal metaphors and comparisons that just draw you into his world.
Yeah, it's almost like he's creating this whole mythology around himself.
Right. And it's delivered in this really captivating way that balances humor and this, like, almost mythical quality. It's definitely unique.
And he gets so specific sometimes,
Yeah.
He drops these incredibly detailed lines that are just hilarious.
Oh, yeah, his one-liners are legendary.
It's like he finds humor in these really unexpected places.
It's a skill, for
Yeah.
sure, and it sets him apart from a lot of other rappers who might focus on more traditional themes or subject matter.
Yeah, and he's not afraid to poke fun at himself either.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's got that self-deprecating humor that just adds another layer to his persona.
And then, right in the middle of the album, there's this really interesting section that almost feels like its own little world.
You're talking about the part that starts with Thug Love Story 2017, the musical interlude, right?
Yes. It's like a mini story within the larger narrative of the album.
It's like a 3-song arc, a conceptual trilogy almost. It introduces these new narrative elements, exploring themes of love and loss in this really theatrical, kind of over-the-top way.
It feels like a complete shift in gears.
Yeah.
And then goes right back to the established vibe.
Yeah, it's a bold move for sure. It shows Bronson's willingness to experiment with structure and storytelling.
And within this trilogy, there's City Boy Blues, where his vocals take on this whole different quality.
Oh, yeah. He channels this really distinct bluesy style in that track.
It's almost like he's taking on a completely different character.
Yeah, it's like he's stepping into a new role, trying something totally different.
It's a bit rough around the edges,
Yeah.
but that almost adds to the charm.
Yeah, it feels raw and unrestrained, like he's not holding back or trying to be perfect.
Definitely. And I know that sparked some debate among critics.
That's true. Some loved it, found it ambitious and intriguing. Others thought it was jarring, out of place.
Well, I think it just adds to the overall intrigue of the album.
Yeah, it definitely shows that he's not afraid to take risks.
He's pushing boundaries, challenging what a hip-hop album can be.
Absolutely, and that's what makes him so compelling to listen to.
He keeps you guessing.
That's for sure. It's not just the songwriting, though, right? Like, the production on Mr. Wonderful is top-notch.
Oh, absolutely. He brought in some serious talent for this one.
You got heavy hitters like The Alchemist,
Yeah.
Noah 40, Shay Beebe,
Mm-hmm.
even Mark Ronson. Like, that's a pretty diverse lineup.
It is, and they each bring their own unique style to the mix.
Totally. You got those classic Alchemist beats, sample heavy, grimy. And then 40 with his more atmospheric melodic sound.
Yeah.
And then Ronson bringing that retro soul vibe.
It's wild how well it all comes together. And it complements Bronson's style perfectly. Like on tracks like Terry and Actin' Crazy, the beats are kind of laid back, but then you have Bronson coming in with this intensity that just grabs you.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely a contrast there that works so well.
And then there's Baby Blue. That one really showcases Ronson's production, right?
Definitely. That jazzy, soulful vibe he brings, it's just perfect for that track.
It's such a catchy song. And it's interesting because it's a breakup song, but it's not your typical sad, heartbroken kind of thing.
You get this playfulness to it.
Yeah. Even though the subject matter is, about heartbreak.
Well, I think a lot of that comes from Chance the Rapper's verse. He just brings this amazing energy to it.
Oh, yeah. His verse is incredible.
It's funny, it's clever, it's got those over-the-top lines about heartbreak, but then he ends it with this sincere wish for his ex's happiness.
It's that mix of humor and sincerity that makes it so great.
Exactly. It's like you're laughing along with him one minute and then feeling a pang of empathy the next.
Bronson really knows how to pick his collaborators.
Yeah.
Chance adds a whole new dimension to that song.
For sure. Speaking of adding new dimensions, we got to talk about Easy Rider.
Oh, man. That song is a trip. Like, it's so different from everything else on the album,
It's like a complete departure, right?
but it somehow still fits perfectly.
Well, Bronson is all about bending genres, and Easy Rider is a prime example of that.
You can really hear that psychedelic rock influence, especially in that guitar riff.
Oh, that riff is infectious. It's such a bold choice to include that on a hip-hop album.
And it just works. It shows that Bronson is not afraid to take risks,
Yeah.
to push boundaries and maybe even alienate some listeners in the process.
It's like he's saying, this is my vision, and I'm going to see it through, regardless of what anyone else thinks.
Exactly. And that independent spirit is what makes him so captivating.
Absolutely. He's not bound by any specific genre or style. He just creates what he wants to create, and that authenticity is what resonates with people.
It's refreshing, honestly,
Totally.
especially in an industry that often feels so focused on, like, polish and perfection.
It's like he's giving us permission to be ourselves, quirks and all.
Yeah. Embrace the imperfections, Have fun with it. And that seems to be a recurring theme throughout Mr. Wonderful.
Absolutely. It's not just about the music either. It's about his whole persona.
Yeah, he's always playing with expectations.
Pushing boundaries, challenging the status quo.
And he's not afraid to be goofy, to be vulnerable, to just let his personality shine through.
And that's a powerful message, especially for younger generations who might be feeling pressured to conform.
It's like he's saying, it's okay to be different, to be weird, to embrace the things that make you unique.
Right.
And Mr. Wonderful is a testament to that.
It's an album that celebrates individuality, humor, and just the pure joy of creating something unconventional.
I think one of the coolest things about this album is how it seems to resonate with people from all walks of life.
It's true. It's not just for hip-hop heads.
Right. You got jazz enthusiasts, classic rock fans. Everyone in between seems to find something to love in it.
It speaks to something universal, I think, something that transcends genres and demographics.
It's like he's created this world that anyone can step into and feel welcome.
Exactly.
And that's a pretty remarkable achievement.
It definitely is. Mr. Wonderful is a statement not just about music, but about life itself.
Yeah, it's about embracing the absurd, finding joy in the unexpected, and always staying true to yourself. Yeah, it's like there's so much going on beneath the surface,
There is. Like, you can enjoy it for its energy and fun.
Yeah,
But then there's all this, depth to uncover if you really listen closely.
totally. And I think that's what's so great about music, right? It can be whatever you need it to be at any given time.
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes you just want something to put you in a good mood, something to dance to. And
Yeah.
other times you're looking for something that'll make you think, something that'll challenge you a bit.
And I think Mr. Wonderful kind of offers both, right?
It does. It's an album you can have fun with,
Yeah.
but it also has those moments that really make you stop and reflect.
For sure. And it's kind of inspiring to see an artist like Action Bronson, achieve mainstream success without having to sacrifice his artistic vision.
Oh, totally. It's like he proves you can stay true to yourself and still make it,
Yeah.
He could have easily tried to fit into a mold, water down his style to appeal to a wider audience.
Right.
But he didn't. He stuck to his guns, and it worked out for him.
Yeah, and I think that's a powerful message for anyone, really. Not just musicians.
It is.
It's about having the courage to be yourself, even when it feels like risky.
Absolutely. Embrace what makes you unique.
Even if it means standing out from the crowd.
Exactly.
And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into Mr. Wonderful. What are your final thoughts on this album and Bronson's, whole approach to music?
I think Mr. Wonderful really shows how powerful individuality can be, you know? It's a reminder to stay true to your vision, to have fun with it, and to not be afraid to experiment.
The celebration of creativity, really.
Totally.
Right.
And it leaves you with this, like, lasting impression, not just because of the music, but because of Bronson's personality, his energy, his spirit. It all comes through so strongly.
Yeah, you can definitely feel that. Well, this has been an amazing journey through Mr. Wonderful. It's an album that just keeps surprising me, and I hope everyone listening has enjoyed this deep dive as much as we have.
I know I have.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.